The National Ecosystems Foundation just released a statement identifying 4 major ecosystem disruptions. Ecosystem 1 is in the savanna. Native plant species are experiencing severe drought and populations are declining. Ecosystem 2, the ocean. Climate change and human activities are causing kelp and phytoplankton populations to decline. Ecosystem 3, the desert. Limited rainfall and wildfires are causing cacti and other desert plant populations to decline. Ecosystem 4, the rainforest. Trees are being destroyed for timber and to create farmland for agriculture. Let's pretend that you have a summer job working with ecotours, a tour company whose business relies on showing visitors a healthy ecosystem. You inform your boss of the threats to each of these ecosystems, but your boss says he's not worried. Your boss claims these disruptions are no big deal because an event that occurs in one part of the ecosystem will not impact the biodiversity in the region. He goes on to say that only plant species are being impacted, and this will have no impact on the animals inhabiting the ecosystem. Please remember that a claim is a statement believed to be true, in this case, by your boss. However, evidence must be collected and evaluated in order to validate or support this claim. You, however, being the fabulous science student that you are, think that this does not sound right to you, but you need to dig deeper. To test this claim, you're going to select an ecosystem, map out how organisms are arranged in a food web, and draw conclusions. Let's quickly review. What is an ecosystem? An ecosystem is a region where living, biotic, and non-living, abiotic, things interact to cycle energy and matter. In this picture here, we have examples of biotic factors, so living, which include the ducks, the turtles, the plant, the grasses. Examples of non-living or abiotic factors include water, air, sunlight, rocks. Biodiversity is a measure of the different types of species in an ecosystem. If you think about regions of high biodiversity, you may think of a tropical rainforest or a coral reef. We have also talked about factors that may negatively impact the biodiversity in a region, causing a loss of biodiversity. These things may include pollution, deforestation, overfishing, climate change, and invasive species. Organisms serve unique roles in their respective ecosystem, and organisms rely on one another for energy flow in an ecosystem. Organisms can be classified as either producers, consumers, or decomposers. Looking at our picture here, the tree is labeled as a producer. Producers are photosynthetic and utilize sunlight to generate food, meaning they make their own food through the process of photosynthesis. The sun is their principal energy source. The giraffe, lion, and rhino are all consumers. Consumers obtain energy by ingesting plant or animal matter, so eating something else. The bacteria and mushroom are decomposers. Decomposers break down dead plants and animal matter and help recycle nutrients back into the soil. Again, producers have the ability to produce their own food using the process of photosynthesis, where they take in the sun's energy, oxygen, and water, and they produce that glucose sugar. Consumers obtain energy from eating other organisms. The other organisms that can be eaten can be either plants or animal, and decomposers break down dead matter in order to recycle the nutrients back into the soil to sustain plant growth. This diagram shows a food web. A food web shows how matter and energy cycles in an ecosystem. Food webs consist of a number of food chains and show the complex feeding arrangements within an ecosystem. Arrows show the direction of energy transfer in an ecosystem. Can you identify one food chain, so path of energy from producer to decomposer. Here's one example. So you have your acacia tree here. The giraffe is going to eat it. So the energy from the sun is going to be helping the acacia tree make its own food. The giraffe is going to eat that. It's going to consume it. Then the lion is going to consume the giraffe, taking and eating its energy. And when the lion dies, the fungi or mushroom is going to decompose the lion, bringing its nutrients back to usable form for a plant. Again, the arrows shown in this diagram show where the energy is going. Matter and energy is always going to be conserved in an ecosystem. This means that matter and energy can neither be created or destroyed. It's simply transferred or rearranged. Let's check our understanding. What type of organism is shown here? This apple tree. You were saying that an apple tree is a producer because it's going to use the sunlight to make its own food. You would be correct. A cow is a consumer, specifically a herbivore, meaning that it's going to get energy from eating plants. Humans are consumers, omnivores, meaning that we eat a variety of plants and animal matter. A lion is also a consumer, but a carnivore, meaning that it will only eat other meat. A mushroom is a decomposer. It breaks down dead matter in the ecosystem, releasing nutrients back into the soil. So back to our challenge. Remember, the National Ecosystem Foundation released a statement identifying 4 major ecosystem disruptions. Your boss, who manages the eco-tours, claims that this is not a big deal because an event that occurs in one part of the ecosystem will not impact the biodiversity in that region. However, you think that this does not sound right, and you need to dig deeper. To test your boss's claim, you are going to select your ecosystems, map out how organisms are arranged in the food web, and determine how energy cycles as you draw your conclusion.